welcome to the Good Future stand. We're here at BETT today and we're going to be talking about the AI quality mark as a framework for schools and cities. And I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. I'm Anneliese Smith. I lead the AI quality mark for the Good Future Foundation, and today we have with us
Gemma, Gwilliam, Head of Digital Learning, Education and Innovation for the Portsmouth Digital City Project.
Amy Quade, Assistant Head of Digital Learning for Portsmouth Digital City Project and Year 4 class teacher.
Nicci Sawdy, the Assistant Head with the Digital City Project and a Year 3/4 teacher.
I'm Emma Ferris. I'm the Digital Learning Lead at Tring School in Hertfordshire.
Perfect. And all of you have been through the quality mark so far. And so we just really wanted to talk about how it's helped with your strategy and how the framework's really helped you to frame really what you're doing with AI in schools. So as we all know, the AI landscape's often called the Wild West at the moment with everything going on. So how does this formal quality mark move us from that experimentation stage to more institutional standards? So how does it give us this standard? How's the framework helped you towards that?
Do you want to start at school level, Emma?
Sure. So for us as a school, it was a really helpful way to just clarify our thinking and get everything in one place. And being able to go through and work through the different areas and think about which bits we'd achieved and which bits we went, oh, we hadn't thought about that at all. We definitely need to look into that. It just kind of clarified everything for us and gave us a step-by-step framework, literally, to put our strategy together and build on that.
And then for us as a city, it's a similar thing in the fact that, actually it was kind of a bit of a quality assurance of what we got in place. It helped us build our toolkit. So as opposed to starting with our schools, we created the city level approach. And then we know that actually what support will our schools need to do this? What support will our schools need to implement AI safely as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, as we know, the framework is set across those 9 areas. And with those 5 level descriptors, I think, do you agree that it's quite helpful in knowing those steps of how you start and how you kind of move forward with that as well? Definitely. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So thinking as well around the trust and accountability side of things with AI, because obviously that's a big thing. Parents are often asking questions, and how do we help with those stakeholders understanding? How's the framework helping you with those stakeholders like parents, governors, to ensure that the quality mark is of a really good standing, showing that what you're doing in schools is safe and responsible? How is the quality mark helping with that?
I mean, you've done yours.
I think when I did it with my school, it was very much so that our parents knew we were using it safely, we were using it for a purpose, we were making sure it was equity across the whole school, that it was a real reason. We weren't just saying teachers go and use AI, it was for a purpose. We started with the English, which was developed by the city, then it was moving on to maths, and it was very much that strategy of making sure it was safe across the board and used for a real purpose. And we do inform our parents honestly of what we're using AI for. And I think the quality mark, when we shared that with parents, some of them came back to us and said, oh, we get what you're using it for now. Why? We understand why you've gone for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar picture for us, really. Again, it made sure that we were informing parents of what we were doing, and having the quality mark as a badge kind of made it seem more real and more verified by external people, which is worth quite a lot, I think, from our parent perspective.
Absolutely. And have you had feedback from parents since kind of getting the AI quality mark?
So we did at my school. We had a couple of parents that came back to us and said, oh, what does this mean? And then we had 3 of them saying, oh, I'm glad, I've seen AI all over the news. It obviously means you're doing it in the right way because you've gone through this award, and this mark for your school shows that you're developing it. And they were like, why are you silver? And I said, well, because we've got next steps to build on. It helps us grow and what we need to do as a school. So the parents were very pleased with how it worked and how they could see where we were going with it.
Amazing.
And then I think as well for the parents is that we're running webinars and workshops across the whole city. So we're making sure that actually, as well as our children having the education and our staff having the training, the parents and carers are receiving that training and support for themselves as well, which further adds to kind of what we're doing at city level, but then at school level, they're supported.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's so important, isn't it, that we bring them on board? And that's why you've got the parent and carers section in that quality mark, because like you say, it's allowed you to think about, oh, actually, how can we support the parents? Because at the end of the day, the children are using AI at home, and it's all very well doing what we do in schools. If they then go home and do something completely different, it's not very helpful, is it? Fantastic. Okay, so here's another interesting question here. So, as we know, implementing that AI strategy isn't just the technical side of things, it's more of a cultural one. So my question is, obviously we've got all these categories. Which one do you feel has been the most significant shift in mindset towards AI when you're moving for those traditional strategies to a more AI first type framework? I know that was a difficult one, sorry.
It's a very good
We're going
question.
deep.
I mean, I sort of want to say parents, because I think it made us think really carefully about what we were telling parents, what we were telling students, what were our students going home and telling their parents, and did it match what we wanted them to say? So I think that bit in terms of our thinking, but also I think as a teacher is quite easy to forget the support staff and the admin side of things in a school and how much AI can support there. So having that as part of the framework as well just makes you keep going, okay, what about them? What about them? What about them in the school? How is this helping them? So I think those are probably the two main areas, I would say.
We were thinking as well about curriculum and about how we were teaching AI specifically. So not just through other subjects and using AI, but actually AI itself. So how does it work? How can we trust it? Thinking about that critical thinking of our pupils and skills that they can take forward. So no matter what AI tool they're going to be using, where is that data going? How are they using that data so that they're able to take it forward in whatever aspect of AI they're using?
Absolutely. Now, have you found with the curriculum, are you spreading it more amongst other subjects and not just computer science, ICT? Are you finding that it's making a real difference, kind of expanding it across your curriculum?
Yeah, so we're teaching it explicitly in online safety lessons and computing lessons, but then broadening it out and thinking about how we can then use those skills in our foundation lessons and English and maths lessons as well.
Absolutely fantastic. It's great to hear. So, looking as well in terms of, obviously we've got all the individual schools here who have been through the AI quality mark, and thinking about when you're part of a city, local authority, or even trusts and things like that, how has this shaped framework helped to kind of stop that digital divide between regions? How do you find and create that consistency?
So it's really starting with the foundations. And I recommend anyone that's looking at this from trust level, or if they want a local authority approach or a city like us, is actually go through the framework. Which bits have we got? Which bits are we doing? But which bits aren't we? And then you provide the guidance and the toolkit for your schools to then be able to embed this. So by having that citywide approach, I've gone through the process first. I've learned it. I've challenged myself. I've been challenged, responded to the feedback. So then actually when my schools are doing it, I'm like, right, I know you can get your evidence from X, Y, Z because I've done that session for you. Or it'd be a case of like, we're not using as a city AI for marking yet. If you are, you need to consider X, Y, Z. So I think it's very much about the approach of going through the quality mark, looking at what you have, building that evidence portfolio, but that with reason and that why, and it kind of helps you streamline everything a lot clearer.
It gives you that clear kind of guidance, doesn't it, to move forwards, definitely. And then looking to the future, we're expecting students to become more AI literate, if you like. But what is the difference between a student who simply uses AI and a student who can critique it and direct it?
On Emma.
I think that's probably the difference between how successful students are going to be in the future, really. I think, my form group is made up of year 7 to year 9 students, and some of them very happily tell me that they do all of their maths homework by taking a screenshot of every maths problem and just typing in the correct answer. And then you have other students further up the school who actually do use AI, but they're using it for feedback. They're using it to get suggestions. They're using it to improve their own work, and that I think is helping them, and they are becoming far more successful as learners than the ones who are just using it to consume, really.
Absolutely. And can I just quickly ask, like following on from that, so how are you approaching the ones that are using it to just complete the homework? What is it?
That is a very good
That's
question.
always a really fun one.
Yeah. So mostly by sort of teaching them that this is not the way to do it, reminding them that for things like maths, they're going to get marks for showing they're working, and being able to do the right answer and get the right answer quickly isn't actually the end goal. Our maths team are great, and the tool they use shows how often how long students have spent on it. So our maths team will go through and go, hold on a minute, this student got 70% and they took 30 minutes, you got 100% and took 5 minutes. I'm a little bit suspicious, and they'll have a conversation around that then.
Absolutely.
I think if you speak
I
to
think
parents as well.
as our students, we, as a parent, when I get homework and I'm not sure, I am doing it with my children. I will put it into the AI and I will ask it to model how you solve this. And then we will look at my children's homework so that I can model it. And that's what we've been teaching our parents. You can use AI, it's fine. The ones we would recommend, and then you're using it as a coaching tool rather than just get the answer tool. And I think we're building that up with our children. When I do any lessons and I've used AI to help me with this, but I have had to do this with it because it's not perfect. And we've had to tweak. So it's teaching those skills to our children.
Yeah, and like you say, and also to the parents, and that's where the whole framework really helps, doesn't it? Because you've had to think about, well, actually, we do need to train our parents on this as well as the children that we do in the lessons.
I think as well, teaching the pupils about it's taking away the blank page. So it's there to help you, it's not there to do it for you.
Yeah.
So it can be there. So if you don't know where to start, you can ask for a starting point. If you don't know how to plan something, you can help it to plan something for you, but you still need to be the creative person in the mix of how you're using the AI tool.
And then from a critiquing and a critical thinking perspective, we've written into our curriculum a brilliant piece around bias, and also really beginning for them to understand how it hallucinates.
Yeah.
So when we first teach our lesson to year 5, we get every single one to put exactly the same prompt in. And we use Can for AI because that's our tool for our primary children, and we can switch it on and off. They put the same prompt in, and when they're using the Magic Media bit, they get 4 pictures back. But you've got a class of 30, and that's 120 different pictures. And already they're like, well, why is mine like this? Why is mine like that? And then when you start structuring it, they're like, well, it's not always going to give me the same answer, is it? And we're like, no. And I think that's really quite nice for them to see and be like, well, actually, it is going to help me with this, or it's not. I mean, as a city, our phrases, it's got to be the right tool for the right activity, for the right outcome for the child or adult in that moment in time. And by enabling this for them, they get that kind of real life, well, actually, it's not going to help me. It's going to take me longer to do that. So I'd rather just write it.
Yeah, it's about finding the right use, isn't it? And the right time to use that AI. So thinking about other schools who maybe are at the beginning of their AI journey, what advice would you give them? Like, would you recommend that they go through the quality mark? Do you think that it's a helpful process? What would be your advice to those schools?
Absolutely start with the framework. Like, it gives you those benchmarks. It makes you think about things you may not have even considered. It's not just Emma Darcy did a cracking session yesterday, not just about AI policy or documentation. It's about actually that use safety with purpose. And don't just do it on your own. Make sure your tech team are involved. Make sure you're doing it as a collaboration, because otherwise things will get missed. Yeah, starting with the framework and working down and be like, right, where does this fit for us now?
I think the framework's really good, and you've got to really think about it. It's not the end of the process. It's just the start. And, it doesn't matter what you come out with the quality mark, you've got your next steps. And it's almost like a benchmark for you to start at and where to go next. And I think that's the one thing that we've been missing in education. All the AI came out and we were like, what can we use? What are we doing? Whereas this gives you a very structured approach. So you start off and build on from it when you take the quality mark.
Yeah, I agree completely with both of you. I think, absolutely start with the framework, because why wouldn't you? It tells you what you need to do and where to go next. So it seems like a very clear-cut way to do it. So yeah, absolutely start there.
Absolutely. And just really quickly, how did you find the whole process? Did you feel like it was a lot of work to do, or did you find, because obviously you get that feedback session as well, and was that helpful for you guys moving forwards?
Yeah, I think it wasn't onerous at all, and you were doing was putting in what you were already doing. So it wasn't like you had to go away and do anything extra in particular. It's just finding out where you are at that point in time, and then, like Nicci says, you can then get your feedback, and then you've got your next steps, what you know you need to work on, which is obviously really useful if you're creating a school improvement plan. You can include it on that, so you've got those really clear steps of what to do next.
Absolutely.
I think the feedback session was the best bit. It was having that one-to-one person speak to you and tell you, yes, you've got this right, or have you thought about this, and really critiquing you, basically, but in a really positive way. So it made you really think about the process a bit more.
Yeah, I think it was great. It was a chance for us to stop and reflect on where we were. We've actually done this twice. So so we started off and got the bronze quality mark, and then applied again and moved up to silver. So gold is not too far off. We'll get there eventually.
You will. You absolutely will.
Yeah, we will. We're really pleased, and it was really interesting doing it the second time, because obviously we had all of the evidence we'd collated the first time, and we sort of all sat there in the same room, and we went, oh my God, there's so much more. We've got so much more to say this time. We've got so much more evidence. We've got so much more that we've collected. It's not just coming from individual pockets. This is really kind of widespread throughout the school. And it was nice for us to be able to reflect on how far we've come. Looking forward to doing it again soon.
I hope you do as well. We'll get you to gold. Fantastic. Look, guys, thank you so much. Really, really pleased that we can be part of your AI journey, because we know everyone is on their own journey. Everyone's at their own starting point and going in their own way. But I'm really glad the framework was able to help you, and thank you so much for sharing everything today.
Thank you.
Thank you.